Class 11th, Subject Physics, 6th chapter, Mechanical Properties of Solids. Mechanical Properties of Solids. From this chapter, let us see Poisson's ratio denoted by sigma. Poisson's ratio, that is sigma. In order to explain Poisson's ratio, let us consider a wire which is fixed at one end and a force F is applied at the other end. So we have considered this wire having its length equal to L. One end of that wire is kept fixed, that means it will be tied to a rigid support, and at the other end of that wire the force will be applied. If the force is acting in the outward direction, then the wire will get stretched. So in this case, that force applied at the free end of the wire is directed outwards, and therefore there will be elongation of the wire, that is wire will get stretched. On the other hand, when the force is acting in the inward direction, that is inside or towards the length of this wire, at that time it will be observed that the wire will get compressed, so that this will be the compressed wire. So originally that wire will be having its length equal to L, and at that time when the force is directed inwards, that is towards the fixed end of this wire, at that time there will be compression of the wire and the wire will get compressed. So when the force is directed in the outward direction, at that time capital L will represent original length of the wire, and due to the application of this force there will be increase in length, that is small l. So we know that when any wire is stretched, at that time there will be increase in its length, but there will be decrease in the diameter of that wire. On the other hand, when that wire is compressed due to the application of this force, at that time there will be decrease in the length, because original length is capital L and this small l will represent decrease in length, and in this case there will be increase in diameter, because original diameter is d, there is increase in diameter by small d, therefore this total diameter will be equal to increase, that is there will be increase in the diameter. So in this way, when the wire is stretched there will be decrease in the diameter, and when the wire is compressed there will be increase in diameter. So if you consider this situation, then the ratio of the change in dimensions to the original dimensions, the ratio of change in dimensions to the original dimensions in the direction of applied force is called as linear strain. So in this case, linear strain will be the ratio of change in dimensions, that is particularly in this case it will be change in this length of the wire, that is change in dimensions divided by original dimensions in the direction of applied force is called as linear strain. On the other hand, the ratio of the change in dimensions, the ratio of the change in dimensions per unit original dimensions, the ratio of change in dimensions per unit original dimensions in the direction perpendicular to the applied force, in a direction perpendicular, that means in this vertical direction perpendicular to the direction of force is called as the lateral strain. That means lateral strain will be related with change in diameter of this wire, and linear strain will be related with change in length of the wire. So as change in length of the wire will be there may be increase or decrease in the length of the wire, and change in diameter means there may be increase or decrease in the diameter. Now in order to obtain the formula for this Poisson's ratio, let us consider some of the quantities. Let capital L represents original length of the wire. Capital L is original length of the wire. Small l represents change in length of the wire. Small l represents change in length of the wire. Then capital D represents original diameter of that wire, and small d represents change in diameter of the wire. So if you consider the lateral strain and linear strain, it will be defined as lateral strain is equal to change in diameter per unit original diameter. So ratio of change in diameter to the original diameter is called as lateral strain. On the other hand, the linear strain is the change in length per unit original length. Change in length per unit original length, that is the ratio of change in length to the original length, is called as linear strain. And therefore, in this case of the lateral strain, change in diameter is small d, original diameter is capital D, change in length is small l, and original length is capital L, and therefore Poisson's ratio sigma will be given as, so Poisson's ratio sigma will be equal to lateral strain divided by linear strain, that is the ratio of lateral strain to the linear strain is called as Poisson's ratio, and therefore that sigma will be given as lateral strain is d upon d and linear strain is L upon L. This L will be shifted to numerator and d will be shifted to denominator, and therefore we will get dl upon dl, dl upon dl. Now this formula will represent the expression for this sigma, that is Poisson's ratio, as it is the ratio of two similar quantities, that is diameter upon diameter, length upon length. So it is unitless and dimensionless, so it is the pure number. So sigma is equal to dl upon dl, that will be unitless and dimensionless. So this will be about Poisson's ratio. Now let us consider the next point, that is stress strain curve. Stress strain curve, that is if we plot the graph of stress against strain, then that graph will be called as stress strain curve. For that purpose, let us consider a metallic wire which is suspended vertically from a rigid support. Suppose if any metallic wire is suspended from the rigid support such as a roof of the room, then and it is stretched in by applying the load at its lower end. So upper end of that wire will be connected to a rigid support, and at the lower end of that wire a load will be applied so that that wire will get stretched. Now the load is gradually increased in small steps. Suppose the load applied to that wire is increased in small steps until the wire breaks. Then the elongation produced in the wire will be increased during each step. As load is increased in the steps, the elongation produced, that is increase in length of that wire, will also get increased during each step. Now stress and strain are noted for each load step by step. When the load is applied to that wire, for each step the stress and corresponding strain are now noted, and then the graph is plotted by taking tensile strain along x-axis and tensile stress along y-axis. That is, graph of tensile stress against tensile strain will be now plotted, and then this graph of stress against strain is called as stress strain curve. So in this example only, that wire is stretched by applying a load step by step, and the corresponding values of stress and strain are plotted. Now at that time the nature of the graph will be as shown. So here stress will be plotted along y-axis, the strain will be plotted along x-axis, and both are tensile, that is tensile or longitudinal stress and tensile or longitudinal strain. Now when applied stress is equal to 0, the strain produced will be equal to 0. As value of stress goes on increasing, strain will also go on increasing. Now this curve will reach to this point A. Up to this point A, the nature of the graph is a straight line passing through origin, and therefore we can say that for this portion of the graph OA, stress will be directly proportional to strain, and hence Hooke's law will be obeyed for this portion. That means that wire will be elastic in nature and it will obey Hooke's law, and therefore we can say that the initial part of the graph is a straight line, that is OA, and in this region Hooke's law will be obeyed, that is stress is directly proportional to strain. Now as point A, we will get that point A is called as the proportional limit. So this point A up to which stress is directly proportional to strain, this point A is called as proportional limit. That means stress will be directly proportional to strain up to that point A, and therefore that point A is called as proportional limit. Now if the load is increased further till point B, up to point B, if that load applied or stress applied is now increased, at that time it will be observed that we will reach to point B and stress and strain are not now proportional, and Hooke's law will not be valid or obeyed. So beyond that point A, Hooke's law will not be obeyed. Hooke's law will not be obeyed, as well as that means from point A to point B again that graph is slightly curved. It is not a straight line, and therefore Hooke's law will not be obeyed, but still up to point B that wire will be elastic in nature. Now if the load is gradually now removed at any point between O and B, so between these 2 points O and B, at any position, if we decrease or if we remove some load applied to that wire, at that time it will be observed that that wire will regain its original length, and therefore we can say that up to point B that wire will be elastic in nature. And this change in length, that means this change which takes place is thus the reversible. That means as soon as that wire is unloaded between the points O and B, therefore it will regain its original length. That means when that wire is loaded from O to B, it will travel along this path. But if we consider that any point between O and B, and if we decrease the load, if we remove the load from that, at that time again that wire will regain its original length. That means along the same path that graph will come down. Now the material of the wire shows elastic properties. The material of the wire will show elastic properties, elastic behavior in this region OB. So between O to B, that wire will be elastic in nature. Now the point B is called as elastic limit or yield point. This point B will be called as yield point or elastic limit. It is elastic limit or yield point, and therefore thus the elastic limit is the maximum stress to which the body can be subjected without permanent deformation. The Yield point or the elastic limit is the maximum stress to which a body can be subjected without permanent deformation. Now when the stress is increased beyond the point B, when that stress is now increased beyond this point B, beyond that point B, if the stress is increased, then the strain continues to increase rapidly beyond that point B. And then if the load is removed or decreased at any point beyond that point B, then the wire does not regain its original length, and then it follows lines such as CE. So beyond this point B, if we unload that wire, then that wire will not come along the same original path, but it will come back along this dotted line, that is along CE, and therefore this point E is called as permanent set, because this part OE will be permanently present as a strain along the length of the wire. So when that wire is unloaded up to point B, there will be no permanent set, but beyond point B, if that wire is unloaded, at that time we will get permanent set, that is a permanent strain will be present along the length of that wire. Then when that stress is increased beyond that point B, we will get irreversible process. That means the same original path will not be traced by that wire when it is unloaded, and therefore that material will acquire the permanent set. Now further increase in the load, that is after point C, if there is increase in the stress, then strain will increase quickly, that is there will be flow of that wire, the flow of the wire will take place, and at last when that wire goes on flowing at point D, there will be fracture of that wire, that is at point D that wire will cut, and therefore point D will be called as the fracture point. So in this way the nature of this stress strain curve will be explained. Now if you consider the elastic hysteresis, then it will be shown like this. So if you plot the graph of stress against strain for increasing load and for decreasing load, then for increasing load it will be plotted along OAB, and when there is decrease in the load, at that time the stress strain curve will be as shown, that is BCO. So this one loop will be formed for this stress strain curve when for load is increased and when for that load is decreased, and therefore such type of loop will give rise to the hysteresis, that is elastic hysteresis. And therefore we can say that in some materials like vulcanized rubber, when the stress applied decreases to 0, the strain does not return to 0 immediately, and thus the strain lags behind the strain. In this case, strain lags behind the stress, and hence the lagging of strain behind the stress, is called as elastic hysteresis. So along this path, when that wire is loaded, we will get the stress strain curve as OAB, but when it is unloaded, at that time the same path will not be traced, and therefore it will give rise to the elastic hysteresis. And now the materials which break within elastic limit are called as brittle. The materials which break within elastic limit are called as brittle substances or materials, for example glass, ceramics, etc. So glass, ceramics will be considered as the brittle materials. Then The materials which are lengthened considerably are called as ductile. The materials which are lengthened considerably are called as ductile, but in this case there will be plastic elongation of it, there will be plastic flow of the material when the large stress is applied, and therefore the materials which are lengthened considerably are called as ductile. That means the materials from which we can prepare thin wires, that will be ductile. For example, copper, aluminium, iron. Copper, aluminium, iron, these materials are the ductile materials. On the other hand, the materials which can be hammered into thin sheets, that means the metals from which we can prepare the thin sheets, are called as malleable. So malleable materials are the materials or the metals which can be hammered into thin sheets. For example, silver, gold, etc. are the malleable metals. Then a material that can be elastically stretched to a larger value of strain, the material which can be elastically stretched, not plastically, so it will be elastically stretched to a larger value of strain, is called as the elastomer. So elastomer are the materials that can be elastically stretched to a large value of strain. That means this elastomer will bear a large value of strain and it will get elastically stretched. So this will be regarding some of the types of materials.